In this video, we're going to talk about RDOs. RDOs are relativity dynamic objects, and they're building blocks of relativity itself. So in this video, we'll talk about how we can use them to extend and build on top of relativity. Now, this topic has been covered many times in pre-recorded videos, webinars that are posted on Relativity's website. So why am I making this video? Well, sometimes it helps to hear sort of similar explanation by somebody else, and that just helps some people to kind of click and really get it. And RDOs are super important to relativity because that's how you make relativity from just a simple review system and expand that out to do more than just plain review. So let's build some custom objects and we'll talk about how they work. I have a workspace here and I removed all the tabs here. We don't even have a documents tab here. We only have admin objects, so we can add fields and layouts and choices and so on. So let's make our own RDO. The way we do it is we create a new object type. And we're going to go to object type and we're going to create new object type. Let's pretend we're working on some kind of forensic project or collection, and we want to keep track of different devices that either come to our office for collection or we collect on site. So let's make an object type called device. And we're not going to change any other options. We're just going to say object type is device, and we're going to click on save. As soon as we do that, we get a new tab created called device. And this already has an object that we can start using. It has one field called name, but we're going to need to make more fields because we don't want to keep track of just the name of a device. We want to keep track of other fields. So let's make some. We're going to go to fields, click on new field, and let's create object type of a device. This is what we're working with. And let's add a couple of more fields. Let's make one called make, and we can keep it as fixed length text, save new, and model. Again, we can keep it as fixed length text, say save and back. Now normally you would have a serial number here and all kinds of stuff, but we're just going to keep it simple. And now if we filter by our object type, so we'll see what fields we have. The field name was already created for us by default, and we added two fields, make and model. One thing I want to do is I want to change our name to be a required field. I don't want this to be optional. So I'm going to change required to yes, and then do save and back. Just like everywhere else in Relativity, we have an artifact ID, and we have some system fields that keep track of when data was added or changed in the field. Now that we have our fields created, we need to set up two more things. We need to set up how we're going to be looking at the data, which is our view, and how we're going to be entering data in, which are our layouts. The way we're setting ourselves up is basically using Relativity like an Excel spreadsheet, if you will. So let's go into layouts, and let's add fields we created to our layout. Object type is going to be device. And when we built this object type, our layout was already created. So we just have to edit an existing one. So we'll say build. And we're going to drag and drop make and model. We can click save and close. And now we can go to our views and we can adjust our view. Now in the layout, we had to click on the layout itself and then go to build. In the view, we just go to edit, and then we can go to our fields and we can add make and model. So let's click save. And now we can go to our device tab, and now we have everything we need to start adding devices here. So let me enter a bunch and then we'll see how it looks. And now that I entered a bunch of things, I'm going to click Save and Back, and we'll see all the items that I've entered. So we are using Relativity like in Excel. We just enter in data and we're storing it here. But the cool thing we get is we get access to all these filters and different ways of looking at it. All right, so it's not terribly exciting, right? Instead of having an Excel file somewhere in the network where it can get lost, we're putting all that information together with a case. So it's kind of an improvement, but we can't do things like we do in Excel, like highlight and so on. But there may be some more advantages to this. So let's take this a little bit further. And let's say we want to keep track of where this device came from. So let's make a new object and put some locations where these devices actually exist. So we'll go to Object Type, New, Location, Save. We'll go to our fields. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make name a required field, and I'm going to make a new field. We'll call it street address, and maybe this one could be long text. And let's add a field whether this device is currently active or if it has been shut down. And we'll do a single choice, and we're going to make it required. Save and back. We'll go to choices, and let's add our active choice. Location, active, apply, save. Now in location tab, we can go here, and this is another place where we can change what fields we see. So we'll do street address and active and save it. All right, so now we can start filling this table just like we did our device table, but we really want to connect them together somehow. So let's do that. This is a little tricky and not everyone grasps it right away, but it's a very important concept of joining two objects together. Let's go to fields and create a new field, and this field is going to kind of create connection between these two objects. I'm going to go to a device, and I'm going to make a field device called located at, and the field type is going to be a single object field. And now I have to specify what is that single object. Well, what we're saying is device can be located at one location, right? So device, single object, location, and we're not going to make it a required. So let's go save and back, and now we're going to return to our layout section, and we're going to add our location to a device. So I'm going to click here, build a layout. I will add category. I will call it location, and I will add located at to here. And maybe I need to do 2 columns just so that it looks nicer. Let's do save and close and see if this looks good. We'll go to device. So now we can click on our device and see we have a located at the bottom. So let's click on edit. And now we have a drop-down list of a location object. We can do it 2 ways. We can go to location and add item there, or we can do it here. Let's try it both ways. Let's go to location and new location, and we'll call it office. Now we also have other fields that we can add here. So let's add street address because we never added those, and active. we do want to modify that. So save and close. So we'll say office at 123 Main Street, and this is active location, if that makes sense. So we'll save it. Active probably should be assigned to a device, but it doesn't matter for our example. So we'll go back and we'll look at Joe's computer. We'll click on edit, and now we're going to say that it's located at the office. And now when we save it, we have that information here. If we ever need to change it, I'll go back to that location. We could click on office here, and it will take us to the locations section. And again, once we're here in the locations, we see all the locations listed. So for example, for a cell phone, we can add a location called on person, meaning somebody's actively walking around with an iPhone. So we can have it here. And then when we go to devices, and we have our new iPhone, we can edit, say on person, save. And just like we can see locations from a device layout, we can go to locations and look at the devices that are associated with that device. So if we go to our on person, so we'll go to edit layout, and we can add object list. And list is going to be named devices. So now we added devices to our location. Now let's go to our devices and let's add multiple devices to exist at the same location. So for example, file server could be located at the office. So if I save it and I go to location and I click on office, you'll see that it's going to show up both of the devices that exist there. So we established kind of one-to-many relationship here. So we can work with devices or the locations tab, they're connected, and now we can take it even further and we can add more objects to it and build it to be bigger, bigger, and bigger. And eventually we can wrap it into a relativity application that you can export and import to a different workspace, which is unlikely to be needed in this situation. All right, I hope this gives you maybe a slightly different perspective on relativity objects and helps you clarify it in your head just a little bit. If it does, and if this video was helpful, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe to my channel to see more videos like it, and share this with your coworkers so they could learn more about relativity as well. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.